What's going on, guys? Gabe here with ReviewDork, and we are reviewing probably my most favorite controller in 2020. This is the Xbox Elite Series 2, and I got to playing with this, and I actually owned the original Xbox Elite controller, and I had an issue with the bumpers rubbing off. There was a quality control issue definitely with those controllers, which was unacceptable given the price point. But here we have Microsoft, and they're giving us the second iteration, and we're going to go ahead and test the build quality. We're going to go through the different features and the functions and why you would need this. Now, this has Bluetooth connectivity, so you are going to be able to connect it to your smartphone. If you're into mobile gaming, you'll be able to connect it to your PC. You'll be able to connect it to your Xbox. And this is probably the best controller ever made, and I know PlayStation fanboys have something to say about that, and we're not going to get into that. This is not going to be a debate on the best controllers out there, even though I know Applejack's is Team PlayStation. Team PlayStation, because Hooked on Phonics didn't work for him, and he'd rather use shapes than letters. So let's go ahead and find out what's in the box, what you're getting in the box, and let's put it to use, practical uses. So when you get this controller, and mind you, it's already unboxed, no time lapse. We had it already unboxed, but once you get this controller, you will notice that by default, you are getting the concave thumbsticks here. Now, before we get into all of these thumbsticks here, I just want to be able to highlight that this is a charger. There are no removable batteries in this controller, so you would effectively sit the controller there. It is now connected to the charger. You would fold this up, and this is cool here. This is a well thought out feature. Now you would simply connect the charging cable. And this is a fairly long charging cable, guys. We don't have an exact measurement, but we just know it's long. I'm assuming about 6 feet. But you can connect this to your computer directly, and it's plug and play. You can charge it, and you're gonna get about 40 hours of charge time. Now, as far as the charger goes, you don't even need this. You can effectively have this on your table and then just charge it. So I could definitely appreciate that as well. As far as battery life, you are going to get about 40 hours. And again, the charging station, after every gameplay, I would just put it on the charging station and, we're good to go. There's nothing worse than being in a gun battle and your controller just turns off. Not a good look. You become a victim of a headshot. And this is what you will get on the controller by default. And we'll talk about that in a second. We're also going to talk about the other thumbsticks and the benefits of the dome. You can see that there's a slight dome, and we'll explain that. Also, you notice that we have somewhat of a sim tool, and this is basically for the tensioner on the controller. So we can tighten it, increase the tension, and there are 3 levels of tension to get it even tighter. Now, a tight tension would be great for those who enjoy shooters, who want a very stable hand. So you guys know, loose thumbs can mess up the shot, just ruin your day. So by default, this is what you're getting. On the back side, as you can see here, there are also 3 levels for the trigger buttons here. So the uppermost level, you get no stoppage, and then the mid-level, you get less travel, and then on the highest level, or level 1, as you can see here, it becomes a hairline trigger. And for those who enjoy shooting in real life, a hairline trigger on something like a 1911, just the beauty of the shoot, it makes you more accurate. Once we turn this on, and we're gonna show you what this looks like turned on. Now I can appreciate this button here because it is a firm press. It's not a press like you would find on a regular controller. I'm not sure if we could even get that on film, but there's far more travel on the Xbox button than there is on the Elite controller. So it feels a lot more refined because of that. You have your typical select and options buttons here, but we have here a profile button. So as you can see, I'm on profile 1, profile 2, and profile 3. And we'll get to that in a second as far as customization. Moving forward, you can see this 3D polygonal D-pad and comes with a standard directional pad as well. And for those who are just used to gaming with up, down, left, right, well, you're familiar with this. But I can appreciate this pad here because it allows you to pull off those tricky moves, especially in fighting games where it's a down right or a down back movement. It gives you a nice even roll and gives you better control. Kind of looks like a crab, right, Applejacks? Looks like a crab. So on the back side, as you can see, these are removable and they're also programmable. Now, if you don't care much for these additional buttons, as you can see, you can take them right off. And this is actually welcome because I really like to get a firm grip on the controller. So no paddles back here. But we'll talk about the benefits of these paddles coming up shortly. But a nice firm grip. And talking about grip, the texturing travels all around the controller. As you can see, all the way around. You get into one of those intense one-on-one battles, Fortnite, Gears 5, my favorite game, your hands get clammy. It's stressful. People don't understand, right? You know, your girlfriend barges in and you're just like, what? She doesn't understand how intense that gun battle actually is. Now, I don't suffer from sweaty, balmy hands. Applejacks, do you?
Nope.
I know my brother does. And he gets into it, and he's actually one of the best Gears players I've ever met. But yeah, your hands get balmy, they get clammy. Having that grip and that texture really lends to the premium quality of this controller. And if we look at the trigger buttons and we compare this to the controller that comes with your Xbox, you don't see any texturing patterns here. It's a very slick and polished feel. However, on these controllers, you've got the texture, so your fingers aren't going anywhere. Let's go ahead and jump on the Xbox and show you some of the features and options and why this controller is just absolutely amazing. Plus, show you some highlights. For those who are wondering what the really tall thumbstick is for, and mind you, it's concave. So let me explain this for a second because some people might not really understand the difference between domed and concave. So here is a standard pattern or just your standard thumbs. But here you have more of a concave feel. So this is for just really fast-paced movements in a fast-paced game, you know, twitch shooting, that kind of thing. Now the longer thumbstick, if you're a sniper in, let's say, Call of Duty or Gears or Fortnite, if that's your thing, this gives you precision control. As you can see, I like that. Real precise. But more importantly, if you're into racing games, you would simply swap it on over to the other side. And this becomes your steering wheel, but it gives you very precise movements. And so there's no jerky, herky-jerky going on, especially when you're trying to like find your apex on a turn. And yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about when you're trying to overcompensate a turn, especially with a shorter thumbstick. So Applejacks, does this look like you when you're turning in a racing game, like you're, just trying to overcompensate. Does that look like you?
That's exactly what I do.
Yeah, and for a lot of you out there, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. So the taller thumbstick just gives you that precise control, okay? Also, for those who enjoy driving games as well, the throttle is normally on the right trigger and the left trigger is the brake. Now, if you want to feel like you're driving a Ferrari, just shorten that trigger travel so you can engage the brake sooner. So let's jump on the Xbox and look at the options and see how you can go ahead and just change the mapping and the profiles of these buttons to suit your needs. So we're going to go ahead and get this clipped on. As you can see, it's fairly easy to get it clipped on. So with these here, what I like is you just don't have to map them to a specific button. You can map them to an action. And I'll show you guys that coming right up. Okay, once you have your controller connected to your Xbox, you're going to see Xbox accessories pop up, and you have varying options down here. We click here and you can see we can buzz. I'm not sure if you guys can hear that, but it has a very strong vibration motor, by the way. You see it's assigned to You So Stupid, which is me. You guys can follow me on Xbox if you want. Or Why You So Stupid? We leave that for interpretation. We exit out of here. We also have the test. That's what you see with the chem bottle there. You can test and make sure that your buttons are working. Also going back here, you can check on your battery level. As you can see, it's full. Now, what you guys want to know is how to configure. You would go ahead and configure. Now you can see I have a profile here. We're going to go ahead and create a new profile. This is profile 2, and we're just going to hit enter, or Y. That's the name of the profile, apparently, Y. And as you can see, we have all of the different button mappings. And what's pretty cool is that you don't have to map this to just a button. You can map it to an action. So you can go ahead, for instance, and view friends, send message, record what happened. Instead of screaming at your Xbox like, Xbox, record that, you could just map it to record. Obviously, you can map it to different buttons, and for games like Gears 5, I like to use the Nasher. I know a lot of you like to use the Nasher, and so you would simply go ahead and then map this to D-pad left. So you're in a gunfight, you just hit the paddle underneath, right there, and D-pad left. Now you got your Nasher, you got your shotgun, and you can engage in one-on-one combat. So that's pretty cool there. Also, you guys can see here the profile button that I was talking about earlier. You can change your profile, and once you are done situating your profile, you see like defaults 1, default 2, default 3. So this would default as profile 1. This would be profile 2. Now, if we go ahead and edit this some more, we can then go ahead and adjust the sensitivity of the left stick. As you guys can see that there. We can do the same thing with the right stick. And the triggers, you see we got a full button press there. And I have to pull all the way down to actuate that button. However, if I change the level, as you guys can see, here trigger, immediately engaged. I don't have to press it all the way down. Now for video games like Forza, where precision throttle is something that, yeah, you want to exercise, otherwise you're just full throttle all the time, especially taking a turn. You probably want it on this level. However, again, if you are into aggressive braking, you would then change that from the standard braking, which you would find on a regular Xbox controller, to immediate. So it almost feels like an emergency brake. So I would leave that to, let's say, level 2. All right. So you get precision control, or you get immediate actuation. Now we can go to vibration, and you can trigger the intensity of the vibration. And then we have the brightness, which is the button here. And I'm not sure you guys can see that. This is as bright as it gets, but it's bright enough. So this is how you would map your controller. Very, very simple. And once you got it mapped, you would then go ahead and choose your profile. As you can see, profile 2, 3, or off. Really simple, very straightforward. And of course, you can map these to whatever you like or in action. Now, let's get back on the desk and I'll tell you if I think it's worth it. Okay, so do I recommend this? Absolutely. If you're a serious gamer or semi-serious gamer, or if you're just a gamer that wants to take your enjoyment to the next level, definitely. This has all the tools you need to up your game. Now, I'm not the best Gears player, but I did get MVP, as you guys saw in one of the highlights of me playing, and I felt like I had a competitive advantage, so to speak. Just shorter throw, more precision, having the paddles available to you just really, in fact, makes it more immersive. So is it worth $189? I mean, you know, for some, you're saying, well, that's probably a third of an Xbox Series X, but again, it's compatible with an Xbox Series X. It's also compatible with PC. So if you're new to PC gaming, most PC gamers like to use the keyboard and mouse. But if you're just adamant about using a controller, don't get your ass handed to you by the keyboard and mouse warrior, because they do move much faster. So I guess this levels the playing field just a tad bit. Hey, look at, you know, you're a controller guy. I think it's absolutely worth it. I love it. I really can't find any complaint about this other than the durability is still in question. So maybe we'll do a 6-month follow-up video to see how well this texturing, this rubberized texturing holds up. But that's about it, guys. Gabe with ReviewDork. I'm signing out. Peace.